Welcome back, my business besties. Finally, it is here. Today, we're going to be talking about ClinicMonk. A couple of episodes ago, I talked about why you need a CRM, and today we're talking about ClinicMonk, the CRM that I created just for you, just for therapy practice owners. Before we get started, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see my background is a bit, on Zoom when you have it's so basically it's a virtual background. I took a picture of my old office, but the truth is I'm at my cottage pretending to be at my office. How cool is that? So there might be moments where I have no hair. It's not funny when you're on Zoom and then you move the wrong way and you lose all your hair, but don't worry, all is well over here. I'm just at the cottage. I'm so sorry that I took so many episodes to actually launch this officially. I wanted to fit some other interviews in, but today is where I really unveil more details about ClinicMonk. This is a 4-part series. And as I mentioned, this is part 1, ClinicMonk, a CRM built for therapy practice owners. First, I'm going to describe what a CRM is. A CRM stands for Customer Relationship Management. The acronym doesn't always make sense, but basically it is a software, a platform where all of your inquiries land. As practice owners, we get phone calls, we get emails, contact forms, online booking, and they're all scattered. If you work with me, I give you all the spreadsheets to keep them in, but then you have multiple spreadsheets and it's still scattered. I'm going to share a little bit about where this even came from. But before I do that, I want to, because a lot of people get these mixed up. This is not an EHR. This is not a JNAP. Go and use JNAP, my favorite EHR practice management software. So here's how you delineate the difference. A CRM is a conversion tool and a tracking tool, and honestly, a sales tool where all of the leads before they become clients, they all land in one place. This is the place where they get an automatic text back. I'll get into all that shortly. And the purpose of a CRM is to convert them into clients, all those inquiries. The moment they become a client, then you move them into your EHR. The purpose of a CRM is to get more clients into that EHR and specifically into your practice. For years, literally for 4 years, I have been coaching practice owners, helping you move from solo to group or move your group into the next level all over Canada, all over America. And I am obsessed with the clinic growth map. So I listen to every expert. Every day we have an expert, either mindset, accounting, legal, HR, digital marketing, branding. And I don't have to listen to those calls. That's why I brought in the experts, but I just want them to have a first class, like Ritz-Carlton experience. And I think that's why we have at this point 125-star Google reviews, because I give my heart and soul into that. And I think they can feel that. And as I was listening, I felt kind of helpless. And I wonder if you relate to this. I kept hearing 2 things. One was, I'm investing in Google Ads, Nicole. I know that they work and I'm doing what you said. I found a company. I'm not doing it myself and I'm doing what you said. And I'm asking them to send me the information, all of the data of how many leads are coming my way. So typically a Google Ads, I think this is because Google calls it this, but a Google Ads company will call it a conversion. So they'll say you had people go to your website and convert. The word conversion can be used in many different ways. Of course, I typically think of it on a consult call, but they think of it as they went to your website and they reached out. That's the purpose. They're working with you to get more people to reach out. The problem is the practice owners were seeing a big discrepancy. The Google Ads company was saying you had 50 people reach out. You should be jumping for joy. And then they would go into their EHR and say, well, no, the number is way less. Why is my calendar empty? I'm not understanding. The really frustrating part, and here it is. So just so you know, ClinicMonk is, of course, completely HIPAA compliant and in Canada as well. So just so you know that. And EHRs are as well. Now, EHRs, they don't have any what's called, this is a bit of technical terms, but attribution tracking. So that means when they go to the online booking, once they reach the actual calendar of the online booking, you lose them. So the Google company is just counting the number of people who pressed the consult call button, assuming that they must have booked, but a lot of them don't. They get to the calendar, the availability doesn't work, or for whatever reason, they get distracted, human nature, and they bounce. So that's where you didn't have any track. You weren't able to see like who actually booked. And with ClinicMonk, you can. When I saw that frustration, I was racking my brain like, okay, oh my gosh, we're talking about this all the time. How do we solve this problem? And a CRM solves that problem. What you do is you use the contact form in ClinicMonk. It comes with a contact form. It comes with an online booking. Now, I want to be clear. You're still going to use Jane's online booking for all your what? Yes, you got it. Your clients. When they become a client, they're gone from ClinicMonk. They're into the EHR. But you use the online booking for what? For your consult calls. And because I give you a pretty online booking, don't worry, it has faces on it because that's important. We know that faces convert at 30 to 50% higher. So it's pretty and all the things that I tell you need. But the cool part is two things. One, it is able to pull the attribution to see, oh, that came from a Google ad. And then inside ClinicMonk, you can see, oh, here's a new lead. Oh, where did it come from? It came from a Google ad, which is groundbreaking. And why this is groundbreaking is because before you were paying your management company $500, $2,000, sometimes $5,000 or more every single month, not really having detailed data. Now, they could give you detailed data if the person called, if they filled out a contact form. Sure, they were able to track that. But there was this online booking bottleneck that ClinicMonk fixed. There's another bottleneck that was fixed. Do you ever shop online? It's okay, you can tell me. I do. I literally don't go to stores anymore. It's fabulous. Everything just shows up at my doorstep. I hate even when I get like my MAC makeup, I always check out as a guest. Whenever it's like you create a login and password, I'm like, no, I will check out as a guest every single month as I get my new mascara or my new eyeliner, particularly, even though it's kind of more work, because you know why? I don't want to remember another password. I used to be able to have one password. You can't do this in this scammer world anymore. And now I'm like, I can't have 50. I'm just going to check out as a guest. The same with the leads. They're going to the EHR. And what does the EHR ask? Create a profile. The problem is people aren't used to creating profiles when they book a call or book a meeting. If I send you my Calendly link, let's say, you just book. If I send you any link, you just book. But because EHRs, because of privacy, they can't do that. What was happening is they're clicking the button and then there's too much friction and they bounce. ClinicMonk solves that. ClinicMonk provides online booking with your intake coordinator. That's next week's episode. Going to get into that. You no longer want your therapist doing your consult. I'll teach you why, especially in 2026 when things are slower. We need to be cutting edge now. On your website, you're going to have a button. That button is going to say book a free consult. That button is going to go directly to your intake coordinator, who it's basically your admin. They're going to do both. It's going to be one person with a calendar, hopefully with about 20 hours of availability, and they're going to book. Now you're probably like, okay, what about if my existing clients want to book? I'm glad you asked. On the website, above the nav bar, you're going to have another button called Client Login. So if your existing clients want to book multiple sessions online, they can. We're separating out leads now from clients. It's the only way. We need to focus on the leads so we can convert them, maybe for the first time in your practice career. Here's what happens. People are calling. They're filling out the contact form. They're booking online. They're emailing. You've missed calls. Even when you miss a call, there's now this thing, it's still new and you're going to have it. It's all included, called a missed call text back, called automatic responses. I used to teach you, I called it follow-ups. You have to follow up with all these people, respond right away. But what if the system did that for you? And it wasn't just an email, it was a text. When they filled out the contact form, they got a text. And I'll tell you, we both know people are way more likely to respond to a text than an email. When they book online, they get a text reminder because now they're booked, but they also get what I call a pre-engagement sequence. Just a couple of texts and emails letting them know what to expect on the consult, because some people are a bit nervous, like, oh, what do I expect? It's going to increase the show rate. I mentioned this in the episode where I talked about why you need a CRM. The most exciting feature that is so cutting edge right now is the missed call text back. They're calling multiple people, but they get a text from you immediately. It gives them the booking link for the online booking, but it also tells them you'll get back to them within a half an hour or whatever you customize it to. I've heard another coach say this on her podcast, that she reached out to multiple clinicians and one had this. She got a text and she immediately admitted that I wanted to book at that clinic. They had me booked before an hour. I was fully booked in. The other clinic took 3 days because it was on a weekend to get back to me, and they lost me as a lead. And I was about to invest in intensive EMDR and thousands of dollars. But what's interesting is people will judge your clinic in a good way. They will see your clinic as innovative, as being able to afford such cutting edge technology that they're going to want to go there, literally just because they're getting this text. You're getting the lead, but it's also impressive. This is the stuff where they tell their friends. All the leads land in your pipeline. It's a visual pipeline. You already know they've all got responded to, which is amazing. So it's less stress, even if you don't have an admin. And then a lot of them are texting back. And when you do have an admin, your intake, AKA intake coordinator, they're like texting back and forth and just getting booked. One of my favorite parts, there's a dashboard. There's two. And on these dashboards, it's going to tell you your booking rate, your conversion rate, your show rate, your direct booking rate. I'll show all this to you next episode. But why this is important is this is where you see if anything is broken, because here's the thing. You could still be getting the leads. You're tracking them all. They're all getting automated. But if something is broken in the back end, something with your website, some friction, a bottleneck you don't know of, these stats, immediately you're going to be like, whoa, what's going on? Why did that just dip? And then you'll be on it, because I want you to fix the things that are broken before you turn up the tap to your marketing. Now let's get to marketing. After you fix the things that are broken, because don't we know, as we're scaling, things do break. They just do. You're tweaking all the time as you grow to your next level. My favorite part, as I mentioned, is now you know attribution. This is a tech term, attribution. Attribution tells you where did the lead actually come from? Was it a Google ad? Now you know that. Was it SEO? Was it AI search? Or was it a referral? Maybe Psychology Today, family doctor, friend, another therapist. That's all in your dashboard. So now I have the lead. Now I fix the bottleneck. And now I can turn up the marketing tap. But you know exactly what tap to turn on. Automation equals freedom. Automation equals freedom and way more ease, because you save so much time, even just mental space, but you also save money. Imagine a world, just let your shoulders drop as I say this, no more guessing. You have eyes on it. Even better, you've delegated that to your intake coordinator, who has eyes on it daily and just sends you an update every single week while you're traveling, while you're at the beach, while you're picking your kids up or sipping a mojito in your backyard. I think one of the exhausting parts for me was the not knowing, and I was doing all the right things and I was investing in all the right things, but it was the back and forth. Okay, the clients are coming in, but I don't know where they're coming in from. Here's the thing. I'm going to continue to do the 8 things I'm doing, but now with the CRM, I didn't have one because you didn't even need one back then, but now you do. With the CRM, you just pick the one that's working. Oh my God. You let go of 7 tasks that you were doing. You were doing hard work, but you were just working on the wrong things until now. There is a book, I forget the name of it. I'll put it in the show notes. He talks about it is better to be the first than to be the best. Why do you think that is? Don't put pressure on yourself to be the best. Research now tells us we don't need to be the best, but you want to be the first. Back when Google first came out and SEO became a thing. I want to say, was that like 20 years ago, maybe 15 years ago? Those who were the first doing SEO, doing the innovative thing that nobody else was doing, they still live on the first page of Google. And we both know they're not the best. There's some coaches still on there and they're so dated. Sorry, that's judgy, but that I'm like, I'm sure you've had this experience. It's like, how are you on the first page of Google still? Or how do you have such a presence on YouTube? They just started early. They're absolutely not the best. Start early. Be an early adopter. Mark my words, this is the future. If you take on and have a CRM early, be the first, it will be your competitive edge. It will be your rocket fuel. And what I love is that it's so accessible. It is accessible in terms of the investment monthly, but it is also accessible where if you feel like, oh, I feel a bit behind, I'm a new mom, like I can only give 25% into this practice, or I live in a very rural area, or whatever it is, fill in the blank, like you just feel a little disadvantaged in some way because you can't give it your all, you feel behind, you're lagging. Until now, you can take somebody who is, oh, I'm just out of school, I'm only a pre-licensed therapist trying to do this group practice. If you take on these innovative opportunities early and be the first, you will stay the first. I want to talk just quickly about an intake coordinator. And again, I'm going to get into all of it next episode. The other thing I was listening to is my therapists just aren't converting, Nicole. And I understand why, because therapists are brainwashed not to be salesy and their conversion rate was low, but because you have multiple personalities, it was exhausting for the leader. They were trying to train them all, or there'd be one person that has a high conversion rate, but then that person would get busy and then their conversion rate would plummet when the next person was booked more with consults and they didn't have a high conversion rate. And the second problem, yes, they're brainwashed, but the second problem is also they don't know their conversion rate. That's actually quite hard to track inside your EHR. But in ClinicMonk, they see it. What if you had one person do all the calls, way less exhausting, and you're going to hire that person as an employee? You should always hire your admin, by the way, as an employee so they can have clear KPIs. If you're Canadian and you're hiring your therapists as contractors, you can't really have clear KPIs. So you give them all this freedom, but then they're just not well trained. I'm going to walk you through that all next week. You're going to have your admin, they'll be the one running and on top of the CRM. Imagine you have a sales department. Imagine you have one person focusing on client acquisition. And by the way, just like every industry, every growing industry already has this. We're just behind. And unfortunately, I won't say their names, but the big private equity firms, those huge online conglomerates with all those online therapists, oh, you bet they have a CRM. You bet they have client acquisition dedicated department. And now you're creating your own. Are you excited? Oh my God. If I were you, I said this, the CRM episode, I wish I had, I want to start a group practice again and have a CRM because it's just truly a conversion engine. Then you turn up the tap in your marketing. You have more leads coming in. They're all getting automatic follow-ups. You fix the bottlenecks. You know exactly what marketing is working. You turn up the tap, more leads come in. It just is beautiful snowball effect. And that's how you grow so fast to 55 therapists if you want that. That's how you create a multi-seven-figure practice. But the best part, it's automated. That's the type of practice that somebody wants to buy. Next episode, I'm showing you under the hood. Going to show you the pipeline, the dashboards, all of it. But I'm also having a launch party. My members get first access to this. So guys, if you're listening, you have a separate private party in September. I do have a launch party for everybody else who is public and who's not a member of the Clinic Growth Map. It is in October. I will have my lead technician there. I will be answering all of your questions, but most of all, you will get the opportunity to get in early and have this rocket fuel and turn on your very own conversion engine. I'll see you next week.